The paper trail. Let's go, 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 go. Yeah, 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 yeah. For the love of money, niggas come around. For the love of money, some stay around. For the love of money, what a nigga will do. For the love of the money, yeah. I gotta shake it 12 at night to 5 in the morning. They don't give a fuck now. If it's for the money, niggas gon' bark and they bite like a motherfucking dog. Gotta party like a motherfucking dog. For that cat, I am gon' roof. And I'm barking at that cat, and I am gon' take the roof off. And I'm riding that ride. Rip nigga to the left, but I'm steady on the only right. I'm swerving with a purpose, A nigga been sipping on that purple. A nigga been cheaping on that purple. Cause I'm getting money. Cause I'm getting money. And I'm laughing all the way to the motherfucking bank. And I'm telling her, tell me later if she thinking what I'm thinking. Damn, I'm getting money. I walk about the bank and I stuck up in the wheel. Headed to my next big destination. Somewhere where I'm gonna be faded.
Jeffrey Epstein has leaked emails of people going out and doing hunts. What? Hunting for pleasure. Oh, hunting them like game.
The heck?
There was actually a woman that's leaking the information of what she said was a Rothschild's hunting trip, right?
Oh.
And specifically certain types of people too, which makes it even more disturbing. This is to Epstein going to Mean Lana's party now to hunt. Why would you be going to a party to hunt? Snipe hunt is over. Moon crick in a field bag. And then the bottom is so messed up. Look, guess what? Their words.
No.
Yeah. That's what they're saying in the email. There's speculation they would take a whole bunch of throw them into like a forest on a deserted area enclosed where they can't escape, and they would hunt them like game. And what's even more crazy is what if this was the first step before consumption?
It makes sense.
There's no exact proof yet where these locations were.
Okay.
And I don't think necessarily was the island. Yeah. Thanks. Thrilling hunt from Ariane de Rothschild. Amazing old male. Amazing hunt.
What the heck?
She's talking about who she got.
Israel and the United States has just launched a military strike inside Iran, pushing regional tensions to their highest level in years. According to early reports, the strikes were carried out using intercepted some of them, but several projectiles reportedly reached areas near the capital. Iranian state media confirmed the attack and announced a nationwide state of emergency. Meanwhile, Israel described the operation as preemptive, and the Israel Defense Forces has also placed Israel on high alert, warning citizens to prepare for possible retaliation from Iran. The strike comes after weeks of rising pressure from the United States. The United States and Iran have been engaged in negotiations over Iran's nuclear program, but no breakthrough was achieved, and this strike could further derail diplomatic efforts. Presently, the United States has a strong military presence in the region, and Iran also possesses a large arsenal of ballistic missiles and drones. In this situation, if Iran chooses to respond, the confrontation could expand rapidly.
After midnight hammer, they were warned, in a particular nuclear, they continue starting it all over. We wiped it out and they want to start all over again, and are at this moment again pursuing their sinister ambitions. We are in negotiations with them. They want to make a deal, but we haven't heard those secret words. We will never have After midnight hammer, they were warned to make no future attempts to rebuild their weapons program, in particular nuclear weapons. Yet they continue starting it all over. We wiped it out and they want to start all over again, and are at this moment again pursuing their sinister ambitions. We are in negotiations with them. They want to make a deal, but we haven't heard those secret words. We will never have a nuclear weapon. My preference is to solve this problem through diplomacy. But one thing is certain, I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror, which they are by far, to have a nuclear weapon. It was brutal, something like the world has never seen before. Iran is the world's #1 state sponsor of terror, and just recently killed tens of thousands of its own citizens on the street as they protested. It has always been the policy of the United States, in particular, my administration, that this terrorist regime can never have a nuclear weapon. I'll say it again. They can never have a nuclear weapon. That is why in Operation Midnight Hammer last June, we obliterated the regime's nuclear program at Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. After that attack, we warned them never to resume their malicious pursuit of nuclear weapons, and we sought repeatedly to make a deal. We tried. They wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. Again, they wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. They didn't know what was happening. They just wanted to practice evil. But Iran refused, just as it has for decades and decades. They've rejected every opportunity to renounce their nuclear ambitions, and we can't take it anymore. Instead, they attempted to rebuild their nuclear program and to continue developing long-range missiles that can now threaten our very good friends and allies in Europe, our troops stationed overseas, and could soon reach the American homeland. Just imagine how emboldened this regime would be if they ever had and actually were armed with nuclear weapons as a means to deliver their message. For these reasons, the United States military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our core national security interests. We are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated. We're going to annihilate their Navy. We're going to ensure that the region's terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region or the world and attack our forces, and no longer use their IEDs or roadside bombs, as they are sometimes called, to so gravely wound and kill thousands and thousands of people, including many Americans. And we will ensure that Iran does not obtain a nuclear weapon. It's a very simple message. They will never have a nuclear weapon. This regime will soon learn that no one should challenge the strength.
Israel has just carried out preemptive strikes on the capital of Iran, and now we have planes like these two 321s being turned away from their flight to Tel Aviv. Now, this just happened, so we don't know tons of details when or if the U.S. has gotten involved yet. We'll be tracking flights all night on stream, so come hang out with us.
Now to you is exactly the places that have been struck by Israel today. It was termed as preemptive strikes, but as you can see, it is far in Tehran, where the Iranian intelligence ministry, the Iranian defense ministry, but what we show right now to you is exactly the places that have been struck by Israel. It was termed as preemptive strikes, but as you can see, it is far more than that. Multiple cities where you have seen it is taking place in Tehran, where the Iranian intelligence ministry, the Iranian defense ministry, and there is in fact a military complex also that has been attacked in Tehran. In addition, there is Qom, there is Karaj and Kermanshah. In addition to this, there is also the Isfahan city that has been attacked. Again, central Iran, very important because that is where the nuclear facility is armed and located, and 60% enrichment has already taken place of uranium in Isfahan, the reason why the attacks took place last year. Let me now tell you exactly the kind of mobilization that US has had in this region. Middle East is a place where US does have very large presence. Whether you take the Fifth Fleet in Bahrain, whether you take Qatar Air Base, it has a very large presence. In addition to that, Donald Trump has actually mobilized massive amount of additional resources. So if it were to look at cornering Iran, then there from the Mediterranean Sea, there is the Gerald Ford, that is the aircraft carrier that has been mobilized. In addition, there is the Roosevelt, and then there is Durban Black as well coming in from the Red Sea. On the other end, from the Persian Gulf, there is USS McFaul, and the other aircraft carrier, that's Abraham Lincoln, that is going to be all the way from Arabian Sea. So if you were to talk about the military might, the mobilization as far as America is concerned, they actually have Iran covered from several areas. Do not forget, you have Frank Peterson and Michael Murphy as well coming in from Arabian Sea. So Arabian Sea, Persian Gulf, Mediterranean Sea, all the way till Red Sea. So if US were to look at complete mobilization, I think this is the picture that it emerges.
The United States military began major combat operations, the American people, by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people. Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world.
Israel just launched a massive preemptive strike on Iran, and the Middle East will never be the same. Multiple explosives. Israel just launched a massive preemptive strike on Iran, and the Middle East will never be the same. Multiple explosions rocked Tehran early Saturday morning. Israel, coordinating with the United States, targeted key Iranian sites. Air raid sirens blared across Israel as Tehran braced for impact. Look at the map. Over 1,500 kilometers separate Tel Aviv and Tehran, yet missiles crossed this distance in minutes. The U.S. military deployed KC-135 Stratotankers from European bases to support the operation, bypassing Middle Eastern allies who denied airspace access. Iran has vowed retaliation. With proxies across Lebanon, Iraq, and Yemen, this conflict could redraw borders across the entire region. The map of the Middle East is being redrawn in real time. Stay locked in. This is the Map Mysteries.
The man who helped discover DNA inside Jeffrey Epstein's mansion? That's James Watson. The man who helped discover DNA inside Jeffrey Epstein's mansion? That's James Watson, Nobel Prize winner. His name appeared in documents related to Jeffrey Epstein. Photos show Watson at Epstein's New York residence. But here's what matters. There are no criminal charges against Watson connected to Epstein. Epstein built relationships with powerful scientists, politicians, and elites, often presenting himself as a wealthy donor. So the real question is, how did Epstein gain access to so many influential figures? Follow for fact-based breakdowns.
This Nobel Prize winner was seen photographed with women at Epstein's house. James Watson has pretty much been a piece of shit his entire life. But let me start with the biggest example, him and others winning the Nobel Prize in 1962 for the discovery of the structure of DNA. Except for the fact that the data came from a woman and she never got the credit. Classic case of Matilda effect. Rosalind Franklin was a brilliant chemist and crystallographer who worked at King's College in London in the early 1950s. There, she produced exceptionally clear images of DNA, most famously Photo 51, which revealed the molecule's helix structure. Literally, without her precise measurements of DNA, the double helix model would not have been solved when it was. However, her data was shown, without her knowledge, to James Watson and Francis Crick, who used her information to build their famous double helix model in 1953. Then in 1962, these three dudes won the Nobel Prize for the discovery, this douchebag being the one to show the other two her images without her consent. Rosalind Franklin died before that Nobel Prize in 1958 at the age of 37 due to ovarian cancer, but they still did not give her the Nobel Prize posthumously. Furthermore, in 1968, James Watson published a book where he talked some shit about her, commenting on her appearance and saying her personality was abrasive. And it continues to get worse. In 1990, he founded the Human Genome Project, but then in 2007, he made comments that people of African descent are less intelligent than everyone else. Bro died late last year, building on a legacy of homophobia, sexism, and advocacy for eugenics, so this shit is not surprising.
Scientists have just figured out how to reverse aging, and it's all thanks to AI. Researchers teamed up with a new model of theirs on what's called Yamanaka factors. Basically, what this AI did was re-engineer 2 of these important Yamanaka factor proteins, making them up to 50 Scientists have just figured out how to reverse aging, and it's all thanks to AI. Researchers teamed up with OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, to train a new model of theirs on what's called Yamanaka factors. Basically, what this AI did was re-engineer 2 of these important Yamanaka factor proteins, making them up to 50 times more powerful than what we had today. Imagine you're 60 years old and your cells acting like you're 20 again. Not only does it reset your cells to a youthful state, it'll also repair any DNA damage and make it act decades younger than what it actually is. This could mean new ways to fight diseases, heal organs, and maybe even slow down or reverse human aging. Right now, it's only in the lab. There's been no human trials done yet, but the way that things are going, AI isn't just writing code, it's actually reinventing the human landscape. So if AI can literally rewind our cells back to a youthful state, have we actually found the fountain of youth? What do you think? Leave a comment down below and make sure you subscribe.
Okay, so this is freaking terrifying. They're now saying that longer, and in the not so far distant future, you too will be able to reverse your aging.
Our
Okay, so this is freaking terrifying. They're now saying that aging is a medical condition and you don't need to accept it any longer. And in the not so far distant future, you too will be able to reverse your aging.
Our generation is going to witness the biggest change in health since the inventions of clean water and vaccines. Aging doesn't have to be acceptable. Aging is a medical condition that's very common and it's increasingly treatable. Our bodies are more like computers that can be programmed and reprogrammed and rebooted to be young again. We can reverse aging by 75% in 6 weeks.
Call me cynical, you guys. But I don't quite trust these people. I don't know, there's just something about it. Just something about all of it. Similar things previously post 2020, haven't we, about certain things, especially when it comes to medical procedures. We've had similar conversations, but I'm happy to have a similar one about this stuff as well, because of course, look, the amount of people that would be willing to do something about their aging would be off the scale. I would predict that there would be more people willing to do something about their aging. If this is the stuff that they're talking about now, then the likelihood, of course, is that it's already about. And this stuff tends to start out being available to the rich, the people that have got the kashish, and then it rolls out to the masses. But it's a kind of diluted version of whatever the thing is, right? But again, call me cynical, you guys, but there's just something about it that I don't trust. There's something about going against nature, whatever you want to define that as. People might call it God, people might call it nature, people might call it whatever's real compared to fake. This goes into very much the fake, not real, not organic territory, doesn't it? And I don't like society. I don't, again, call me cynical, I'm not entirely willing to just throw the absolute trust at that. So we'll watch this one, shall we? Ta-ta.
This video is me thinking out loud, so come enjoy the ride with me. China's population may be under 1 billion people.